Hello. Welcome to my 2025 yarn crawl coverage. If you are new here, my name is Molly. I'm the knitter behind Lefty Knits, and on this channel I talk about all things fiber arts. I live in the Bay Area in California with my fiance and my cat Lola, and today we're on the Bay Area yarn crawl. It's Friday, March 14th, 2025, which is the first day of the crawl. I'm outside of Stix, which is in Lafayette, California in the East Bay. I think that they are open until 5 today for the crawl, so I've just managed to get here at around 4. And I want to do a quick crawl rundown of the things that I'm hoping to pick up on the crawl. I'm hoping to get 2 mohairs or fluff yarns of some kind, lace weight fluff, to hold with 2 different Ching fiber merino singles I have. These are the colorways Rosy and Okinami. They're singles, so I don't really want to hold them by themselves. The other thing, and I think that this will probably end up being an online purchase, is some yarn for my Stria cardigan. If you've been here a while, you might know that for this crawl I was planning to swatch for my Stria cardigan. I have 5 colors of Rosa Pomar Mondim I wanted to use, but I did swatch. I think that my main color is far too dark. So I swatched here with just a little bit of Biche's and Bouche's Le Petit Lamb's wool in the colorway Gray Beige to kind of get an idea of color. I don't think I want to use this yarn. There's a few yarns that I'd like to look at on the crawl, but by and large, I think I'll probably end up purchasing like a warmer gray tone, like a light warm gray, kind of like this, probably from like a Mondim yarn, but we'll see. So Stix is my first store. I'm hoping to go to Busywork as well, which is in Martinez, California after this. And then if I have time back in Berkeley, in and around Berkeley where I live, before the stores close, I will hit whatever I can hit there. I'm excited to start the crawl. Let's go ahead and head into Busywork. We are done for the day. I was able to, on my way back from Busywork, go through Avenue Yarns. I was able to find Octavia the Octopus, which is one of the bingo squares. You have to find like a printout of this octopus, which is, I guess, the like mascot of the yarn crawl. I only ended up buying one thing at Busywork today, so I'm pretty happy about that. What I bought was this La Droguerie Brume de Couleur. It's upside down, but you get the idea. Yarn to go with one of my merino singles. I may end up buying another yarn to go with this instead. There are some that I'm interested in, particularly at some of the San Francisco stores, but I thought that this was a good match. It's a baby alpaca yarn, and it wasn't very expensive. It's $15 for 437 yards. So, like, compared to some other options, you know, it comes in a larger quantity in 50 grams instead of 25 grams, like a lot of the fingering weights. And I was able to only buy 2, but it's still a similar price to a lot of the 25-gram mohair balls out there. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think I've exercised some pretty good restraint and I've had a good day. That is it for today. I will see you tomorrow for the Marin and San Francisco stores, hopefully. Hello. I am here for day 2 of the yarn crawl. I'm in San Rafael, which is in Marin County, north of San Francisco, and this is where Dharma Trading Co. and Atelier Marin both are. It's around noon, a little later than I really wanted to get started, but, you know, we're doing all right. So I have been to both of these stores last year. Dharma may sound familiar to you from all of the dyeing products that they have. They are an acid dye distributor that is very popular among indie dyers and maybe even some bigger dyers. I don't know for sure. And they have a lot more yarn in stock than you would think because they don't really have like their commercially dyed yarn or indie dyed yarn online. Just down the street from that is Atelier Marin, which is also a great store. I don't have anything in particular else that I want to buy. I'm still looking for a match for the rosy color, that reddish, pinkish color. Then I'll drive over the Golden Gate and go to San Francisco. My first stop will be Atelier SF, and I'm really hoping that parking isn't as bad this year as it was last year, although it is a Saturday. So I don't know. The biggest problem last year was that there was street sweeping, I think. So maybe since there's not street sweeping today, it won't be too bad. We'll see, but let's go ahead and head on into the stores. Made it to San Francisco. I am in Pack Heights, which is where Atelier is, the San Francisco location. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be to park. I think maybe some people are out of town, you know, or in other areas for the weekend, and of course, no street sweeping on Saturdays. I am in a spot that's like kind of small for my car, but I think that's just how it's gonna be, so hopefully I can avoid a ticket. Got one yarn at Dharma. They had a really interesting like fluff yarn that I got to go with Rosie, the other color of Ching fiber. So that yarn is a Mono Uma, which is a Surrey mohair and silk blend, which is something that I haven't seen much of. I got 5, which is a little less. It's 1150 yards to the 1200 I have in the Ching fiber, but I think that will work out okay. And I didn't want that much extra mohair because I have some extra mohairs and fluff yarn sitting around. I might, again, buy something else to go with it if I find something I like, but I kind of thought the mohair and Surrey together was interesting. I tried to get food when I was in Marin, but unfortunately the place I went only had coffee. And they also had like a playground, like an indoor McDonald's style playground, but bougie, which was cute. I think there's a sandwich place around here, so I'm going to go to Atelier, grab some food to eat quickly, and then my next stop will be Love Fest, after that Firebird, and then Imagiknit SF. And after that, I will return to the East Bay, and if I'm feeling like it, hit a couple more stores. right, hello. I'm sorry I'm not using my microphone. Maybe the audio is not great, but I just want to pop in quickly and say I am done with the San Francisco stores. It's just after 4. I think I should be able to make it to a Verb for Keeping Warm before it closes at 5 today. Hopefully that is correct on the website, the crawl website. Their normal hours are until 3. I think that one would be helpful to get to. I may try to go to Coven of Stitches. I don't know. We'll see. I'm tired, but I've been at this now, I guess, for about 5 hours from when I left my house back over the bridge. Although I'm taking my 3rd bridge of the day. I took the Richmond Bridge to Marin. I took the Golden Gate Bridge to San Francisco. And now I'm taking the Bay Bridge, for those of you in the know. So hitting a lot of the bridges today. Another quick check-in, sans mic. I am done at Verb. I ended up buying more than I meant to today, but I think that this is kind of the bulk of what I think I've kind of done most of the things I wanted to do. I got some fiber. I got some yarns to go with both of the Ching fiber singles that I was looking to match. It's 5 o'clock. I could probably hit 1 or 2 more stores. I'm tempted to hit Coven of Stitches or Black Squirrel, but I think I am going to call it a day. I got quite a few good yarns. I will show them to you when I get home because it is a little bit awkward to do here. And yeah, we're I think almost halfway done with the crawl, maybe. And tomorrow I think I will try to go south to a bunch of the stores in like San Jose area, Silicon Valley, and maybe along the South Bay coast. Yeah, I'll show you the yarns in the next clip, and then I will see you tomorrow. Day 3 of the yarn crawl, let's go. So yesterday I had a very successful day, bought maybe a little more than I was hoping, but I think a lot of the yarns were pretty unique or things that I was targeting in terms of buying, so you know, not too bad. Today I have what I believe will be my longest day of the crawl. I think I'm gonna plan to hit 7 stores or something. I am currently in Hayward. I'm outside of Aranea Craft Studio. This will be my first stop. Then I will go to Pop of Color, Fillory, Uncommon Threads, Nordic Nest, and I'm hoping to hit both Fengari Fiber Arts in Half Moon Bay and Royal Bee in Pacifica. Those ones are both slightly out of the way from, well, not really. I mean, it's just that it's a long day. So depending on how I feel, maybe I'll save those for next weekend. But I mean, I'm doing great. The ones I'll have left if I visit all of the stores I intend to today will be 2 are near my house. 1 is pretty close to my house, Coven of Stitches, and they have pretty late hours, going to like 7, 6, 7, maybe even 8 one day. I kind of forget. And 2 that are out sort of near where I work and where my parents live. So I plan to visit those on Tuesday when I go into the office, and I'll see my parents too. So I'm gonna go ahead and head into Aranea. I think I'm gonna stop at Dunkin' after this because I saw there's one nearby, and as a former Boston resident, I unapologetically love Dunkin' Donuts. It's about 11 o'clock and I have quite a few stores to hit that close by 6. So let's hop into Aranea and get started. Sitting outside Fillory Yarns in San Jose. I just got done in there. I'm tired. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to Fengari and Royal Bee today. That might be a next weekend thing. But at least Uncommon Threads and Nordic Nest are more or less on my way home, so I'm gonna play it by ear, head by Uncommon Threads. I got some mini skeins at a pop of color in these colors. I thought they looked pretty. I remember this a little bit from last time, but Morgan Hill is like far. It's just far. It's a beautiful store, a pop of color, but it's like, it's a trek down there. Even going from Aranea, where it's like 50 minutes maybe, instead of like an hour and a half or something from my house, it's still a pretty long drive. And I'm not used to taking such long drives, being in the driver's seat, especially being alone. Usually my fiance would be with me. I'm happy to be on the crawl. I have, I think, over half the shops done at this point. I think I'm just reaching that dip in the day. I guess it's almost 2 o'clock, so on we press. Quick check-in from outside of Uncommon Yarns. I got 2 more of these. The Suspicious and Bushes, Le Petit Lamb's Wool in the colorway Candy or Bonbon. I bought 2 of these last year, actually, at the crawl. I bought 2 regular gray at the store, and this color is like not available anywhere online. When I ordered more gray recently to make something, I didn't find any more of this. So anyway, I just picked up 2 more of these. There was a blue color, like a light blue, that had the same sort of like color effect to it with like pinks and purples. And there were 3 skeins, and I walked around the store holding them for a long time, but I talked myself out of it. So I'm pretty proud of that. And we are on the way to get gas and then go to Nordic Nest. I'm feeling slightly more energy, still playing it by ear with respect to Fengari and Royal Bee, but we're doing pretty well. Hello. It's a little sunny on this side, but it is raining. I think you can see on my glasses it started to drizzle a little. It is supposed to rain this afternoon and evening. I guess it's approaching evening. It's 5 o'clock. I just finished at Royal Bee. Again, I had a slightly bigger haul today than I was expecting, but not in a bad way. I got more of a yarn that in a way I didn't know that I really wanted or needed more of, but I'm happy I got some fiber that I think might spin well with my fiber from yesterday that I got at a Verb for keeping warm. We'll see how those look when I get home, and I will show you everything else. I got minis, and I realized at the very last second when I did the math that the minis were DK instead of worsted. And by at the very last second, I mean after I bought them, but before, as I was looking around for like fingering weight yarns at a different store to match with it, the mini was 20 grams. I multiplied the yardage of 1 times 5, and I was like, why is it 245? Shouldn't it be a fingering weight? And then I was like, maybe it's not, and I looked at it and it's DK, which is fine. So I got a yarn to go with it, and just here at Royal Bee, and I feel good. I have, I think, 3 bingos now, and only 5 stores left. Here's my card. I think I'll probably be done by Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday at tops. And I will be revisiting some of the stores with some friends on Friday as like a crawl thing. But since we haven't really talked about which stores we want to go to, I figured it might be good if I just banged them out, because they have actual things to do with their life besides drive hundreds of miles to look at yarn. That's all for today. I will show you what I got when I get home, and I will see you during my next crawling. Back with a quick update. It's yarn crawl day 5 technically, but it's my day 4 because I took yesterday off. It's Tuesday. I was really tired after a weekend of so much yarn. Now I am sitting out front of Knit This Purl That in Livermore. It's about 5:15 and I just got off work and drove over here. That is the one benefit, I guess, of working in the suburbs, is that it's close to my office, because basically every yarn store besides the ones that are in my direct vicinity will hit me with rush hour traffic if I try to go after work from my house. But here I am. Last time when I tried to film in there, I found the light flickered at like a weird, I'm assuming it was like a frame rate thing. I don't know anything about cameras or lights, but something was weird, so I couldn't like film video. I had to take photos. We'll see how it is in there today. Hello. It is Wednesday, day 6 of the yarn crawl, day 5 of my personal journey. I again forgot I forgot the cord to connect my mic today. Anyway, I'm out running some errands. I'm gonna run through Imagiknit East, the one in Berkeley, and quickly run through my favorite smoothie place, which is also here, just down the block. I used to live like 3 blocks from this place before Imagiknit East opened. But yeah, I love this neighborhood. I'm here a lot, so I'm gonna do a quick pop through, grab some coffee, grab some smoothie stuff, grab a few things. Probably not grab anything from Imagiknit, but maybe. And I'll see you in there. It's 5:40. Black Squirrel closes in about 20 minutes and I am out front in the home stretch. I went back home and finished my work day after Imagiknit and my errands, and I'm here to finish. Coven of Stitches is open till like 8 or something. They're open really late, so that's nice. Final 2 stores. Let's go. Black Squirrel. I'm a little warm. You can tell because of how pink I am. I got one thing, which I wasn't expecting. This was on sale. It is Archaic Fibers Fremont Tweed Fingering in the colorway PDX, I guess. It was under $20, or it was like 19, 20 something with tax. And I got this for my fiance. It might be too light for him, but I made him a hat. It's like stretching out. I think I can maybe block it into shape, but I think part of it is this fiber. This is a BFL and NEP blend. It's superwash, it's plied, which are both things that the hat was not, that I made for him. But he likes tweed. He also has very specific color desires, and he wants it to be a lightweight. He wants it to be like fingering. So there aren't that many like fingering weight tweeds that are like not rustic, that I think won't stretch out. And because I saw this, I just grabbed it. I don't know, I think it might be a little lighter than he wants, but I'll figure out something to do with it if it is. Because it was on sale, I wasn't really sure if I would be able to find it again. I am stalling a little bit. I think the traffic to Coven of Stitches will be not great, not terrible, but I am on my way there now. I wrote my review of Black Squirrel, so all I have left is this one empty spot at the top of my bingo card. Time to persevere, finish up the crawl, and turn in my bingo card. I did it! I just visited Coven of Stitches. It doesn't say that on this bag. They took my picture as I did the blackout. Got the stamp. I was the 3rd one to turn it in there. And there's this like list of instructions. I don't want to show it to you, just in case, of things I have to do to collect my prize. If I'm one of the first 150 people to finish getting a blackout, which I like my chances. Honestly, I'm tired. It's been a long journey. It's been a journey filled with buying yarn, more than I meant to, but that is life. I also got more fiber than I was expecting, which is good. That part is good. I am going to go home now. Before I go home, I'm going to do the email stuff just in case. And then I think I'm entered for a drawing as well. So thank you for coming along with me. I will do a whole wrap up. For now, I'm excited to sleep a little, knit and spin, actually start using some yarn because I haven't had that much time for that. And I will see you later to show you what I got, which includes some fun puffy yarn. Hey, so it's been a couple days since I finished my crawl. It is now Sunday. The crawl is technically going on for a couple more hours, but not by the time you see this. I just wanted to talk quickly through what I got on the crawl, all the makers, how the crawl was, the stores, and just give you a little rundown of how I feel the crawl was this year for me. So as a reminder, I went into the crawl looking for a couple specific items. The first and the big thing was mohairs to match 2 merino singles yarns that I had, both from Ching Fiber. The top color is rosy and the bottom is okinami. I was also looking for a main color yarn for my stria, deciding that the one that I had was too dark, but that's something I ordered online. It should be coming in a few weeks. I'm waiting for a restock so that I get the same dye lots just in case. So that is coming. To go through my crawl, on the first day I visited Stix, Busywork, and Avenue Yarns. I have visited all of them before, last year for the crawl, and Avenue quite a few times because it's pretty near my apartment. Busywork is in a new location this year. They're in the same building, but they're like around the corner on the main street side, I guess. They were kind of in a first floor unit off of the main drag, and their new space is, I think they said actually to somebody when I was there, not bigger, but it feels a lot more open and bright, and they have a lot of cool stuff. They have this yarn called Belly Yarn that I think is their special yarn, but I did not end up buying anything from them. They also have a really cute shop dog. It looks like an Australian Shepherd, and I remember him from last year and he was there again. So if you want to see a puppy, visit Stix. The second store I visited was Busywork in Martinez, and I really love Busywork. It has like a really fun vibe. They have a bunch of little crafts. It's in the Martinez downtown, which has a lot of cute little stores and restaurants and seems like a nice, like, suburban town, I guess. I ended up getting this yarn, Brume de Couleur from La Droguerie. This is a baby alpaca and I believe a little bit of nylon yarn. It's 437 yards for 50 grams per each of these, so a lace weight. And I thought this was a very good color match for okinami. This is one of the yarns I had scoped online as a potential color match, and I am honestly really happy that I got it. There were other yarns I was considering, but this one I think matches the best. It matched much better than the ones that I was like maybe more excited to find and look for. And it's the only one I got. I think I said in my videos I might get more mohairs or fluffs to match these two yarns, but I actually only ended up getting one of each because I was so happy with the color matches compared to my other options. Busywork has Mondim. They have like a lot of kind of fun workhorse yarns. They have this dyer Fiction Fiber, who I believe was having a trunk show, that I think has a lot of really cool looking yarns. I got one last year from them at Busywork for a shawl that I still have not made. That was my first purchase and my only purchase of the first day. After that, I went to Avenue, which has an incredible selection of yarns. They had an Expression Fiber Arts trunk show going on during the crawl, and I believe they were there on the first day. Avenue is just a nice store. They have a huge selection. They have some local yarns. They have D. Gilpin yarns. I think that's what it's called. It's like a Scottish brand, and I really wanted to try them, but I haven't bitten the bullet yet. My second day of the crawl was really quite big. I did the Marin and San Francisco stores. So that first was Dharma Trading Co. and Atelier in San Rafael, the Marin location of Atelier. And then I did the San Francisco location of Atelier, Love Fest Fibers, Firebird, and Imagiknit, San Francisco. And I finished that up by heading to a Verb for Keeping Warm because of their extended hours on the Saturdays of the crawl. Dharma is really fun. They have an incredible amount of yarn that you wouldn't necessarily know they had from their website. They are one of the crawl locations that doesn't have a lot of information or doesn't have their stock online. So I wasn't entirely sure what to expect there in terms of like brands and stuff. I knew from last year that they had a lot of yarn, and they still do. They also have a room that looks a little bit like a cult room. Like it reminds me of, I think they were the Guilty Remnant in The Leftovers. Like there's this room that's just white clothes and white stuff because they sell acid dyes, which are popular with people who do tie-dye and people who dye things and indie yarn dyers as well. But what I got from them was this yarn here. I got 5 balls of it to go with Rosie. This is a Mono Uma. This is a yarn that is 37% baby suri, 30% super kid, 37% baby suri, 37% super kid mohair, and 26% silk. 50 yards less than the amount of Rosie I have, but I figured I would be able to make that work and figure out either maybe knit some parts of it without mohair if I have to use every inch. It would be fine. Basically, I didn't want to buy a whole extra thing for just using a tiny bit of the mohair. Atelier has a lot of interesting yarns. They have a good amount of Madeline Tosh and Rowan yarns. They have some, they looked like Italian yarns maybe that I'm not as familiar with. A lot of notions, pom-poms, and they always do drawings during the crawl. Or, I mean, I say always. I think the last 2 years they have done drawings during the crawl, which unfortunately, you have to like kind of time right or stick around for quite a while, but that's definitely fun. And the Pack Heights location is, you know, on Divisadero, I think. It's on a very main street with a lot of stuff around, bakeries, restaurants, other little shops. The next store I stopped by was Love Fest Fibers. They have a lot more like textile-y yarns, I guess, things for weaving or home goods making, but they do have a line of superwash merino and mohair yarns in a couple of colors that are super beautiful. If you're looking for sort of that like mega chunky yarn to make like baskets or something, they definitely would be a good spot for that. Firebird was my third stop in San Francisco. I ended up getting a lot from Firebird. I love Firebird. I would say it's one of my favorite stores in the area. They have an amazing selection of hand-dyed yarns, different dyers, and they have a lot of trunk shows going on, I feel like a lot of the time, or just maybe they're not always trunk shows. They had a Super Glow Fiber trunk show, although they stock their yarn regularly. They had Terrapin Fiberworks and Fandom and Fibers. And I think they might have had a 4th trunk show, but I don't know what it was. So they had a lot going on during the crawl. They don't have their stock online, so you just kind of have to show up and see what they have. That can be fun. It can also be kind of bad for your wallet if you're me and you don't have that much self-control. From them, I got some of the trunk show yarn. I got 2 Terrapin Fiberworks skeins. This one is called Zesty. This is their Severn fingering base, which is 100% tencel. It's 437 yards for 100 grams. This is the colorway Hate Street, which I believe is the shop colorway, the exclusive for Firebird. And I got these two to go together because unfortunately they only had one skein of the Hate Street this one's the Hate Street, when I visited. I think these will go all right together. I do have a tencel yarn that I got from Black Squirrel a while ago, and I'm curious to see how those go together. I got this Fandom and Fibers yarn. This is the Nat 20 net base. It is 85% superwash merino and 15% neon neps. To like hide my face, there we go. I got it in the colorway, it's 437 yards per 100 grams. I got it in the colorway Vampire Rogue. So I was looking around at their yarns and they had some pretty yarns, but nothing was really speaking to me until I figured out that they had a Baldur's Gate collection. I'm not like a big Asterion fangirly. If you are a Baldur's Gate person, like I'm not one of the scary Asterion stans who, whatever, this isn't a Baldur's Gate podcast. I just liked the color. I loved the neon neps. I thought they were so fun. I was strongly considering Daddy Bear, which was basically like a leprechaun-y green. I just wasn't sure what I would be able to do with it. And I really liked the neps. I wanted the neps. So I will probably make some sort of like shawl or maybe a cowl out of this would be fun. And then I did the Lucky Dip, which you get a mini skein. You pay $8, you get a mini skein, and you get something else. And the something else is uncertain. This is the mini for this year. It is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon yarn. They did tell me, they showed me under a black light that this does have some fluorescent, like blacklight reactive dye in it, which is fun. And I got to choose a yarn out of their bin, and I picked this Filatura di Crosa Kady yarn, which is a discontinued yarn. I got a 3-pack of it, and this is the color 4. It is 130, it's 100% cotton. Okay, here, 137 yards per 50 grams. I went to Imagiknit that day. Imagiknit is the first place I got knitting for Olive, which is more available widely in the Bay Area now than it was at the time last year when I did the crawl. They have a lot of Mad Tosh yarns. They have an exclusive Mad Tosh colorway. They have a lot of space in both their stores and seem to run a lot of classes and hold a lot of community events, which is very fun. I did not end up buying anything from either of their locations, but the Berkeley location is very close to me and a lot of fun to walk through. I'm in that area a decent amount, so I do go through that store a good amount, which is part of the reason that I didn't feel particularly compelled to buy anything while I was there. My last stop was a Verb for Keeping Warm, which is a slightly harder store to go to most of the time because their hours are super minimal. They're still pretty minimal during the crawl compared to a lot of the other shops, but they have really nice botanically, like naturally dyed yarns that they make in-house. They have some Biches and Bouches, some La Bien-Aimée. They have their other slightly more affordable in-house brand, Bread and Butter, that makes these beautiful merino yarns in gorgeous colors, and also fiber, which we'll talk about in a sec. They, starting last year, made a crawl colorway called Marine Layer. They had a new crawl colorway this year that I did not get, but this is Marine Layer. This is on their nibble base, which is a California wool, 223 yards per 50 grams. I just loved this color. I made something out of it last year. I got the mohair base, and so I got another 50-gram skein, and I also got this Bay Sailor colorway on Nibble as well. And Nibble is, I think, a relatively exclusive base that they don't have that much of. I think they only have like crawl colors on it, and this is one of them. Like they had a couple of accent colors as well. And then I got fiber, as I was alluding to. This is their Bread and Butter fiber. I got it in the colorway Dove. I just thought this variegation was so pretty. It's not quite as loud as some of the yarns I've been getting, or fibers I've been getting to spin, but I loved these different colors. I'm so curious how it will spin up. And I got 4 ounces of this, which is I think like 110 to 120-ish grams. So that was my second day. My third day began at it began at Aranea in Hayward. They have a new shop dog named Jasper. It sounds like they recently adopted Jasper. They have cascade yarns that they have made into mini. Some of them, they have mini heritage, which is their like basic sock yarn. They have Woolfolk yarn, Bay Farm Dye House, which is an Alameda dyer, a local dyer, and a lot of kits. They also have looms and spinning wheels in stock, so I think that's kind of fun. After that, I went to a Pop of Color, which is far from me. It's one of those kind of like long monotonous drives, but it is a really nice store. They have a really beautiful selection. They always have like fun games and stuff during the crawl. They're very friendly. And they had a Yarnaceous Fibers trunk show where I got these 4 minis that I learned later were DK weight. They are in the colorway Gray Owl, Sea Foam. This pink is Bisque, and this coppery rosy color is called Chestnut. And these are the Bronto DK base, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 49 yards for 20 grams. After that, I went to Fillory. I wasn't feeling that great that day, just kind of like bleh. Not in like a contagious, I'm spreading illness way, just tired and I don't know, maybe it's slightly just not great. Fillory has a huge store and it's like packed with yarn. They had a couple of trunk shows that I don't remember, unfortunately. They are a place that I have bought Lang Yawol yarn from before, that I actually ordered online and had sent to me. They have a lot of Plymouth yarns, a lot of Rowan. They had some pretty fiber that I thought about buying, but overall I just didn't find anything that I felt like I really needed to bring home. After that, I went to Uncommon Threads in Los Altos. I got a yarn that I had got there last year as well. This Biches and Bouches Le Petit Lamb's Wool in the colorway Candy, which is this gray with beautiful like multicolor kind of flecks throughout. That store is a Rowan flagship store, I think they call it. So they have quite a bit of Rowan. They have some local yarns from Valhalla, I think, which a few different stores have. Fengari has that as well. La Bien-Aimée yarn. Obviously they have Biches and Bouches. This is their only yarn from them that they have, but it's really pretty. I have not been able to find this base or this color anywhere. I did look because I had some of this, some of a light gray. I wanted more of this and the light gray, but I could only find the light gray. So when I found this, I wanted a bit more. My plan, this is part of my Make 9. I was looking at the Market Henley. I don't know if I'm still looking at that now that I have more. I might hold this, a strand of this and a strand of the light gray together now that I have equal numbers. I don't really know. We'll figure that one out later. Next was Nordic Nest, which is a new store for this year. They are like a Scandinavian Nordic home goods type store. They have some like dinnerware, maybe furniture, I actually am not sure. A variety of like little gifts. I got some candy there. And they have a lot. I saw Malabrigo there, which I didn't see online, but their main thing is Sandnesgarn. I believe that the people who run it, or some of the people who work there, are from Nordic countries. I believe I met some Norwegian people there. So it does seem like they have that tie to the area, and they've brought these goods to San Carlos, which is south of San Francisco. They had what seemed to be a trunk show by Rui Knits at the time, and there were some gorgeous yarns and also this fiber, which when I saw it, it's 100% merino wool, and I was like, oh, maybe that will go with this and I can ply them together. And I actually think that will work and it will look very interesting and fun. So that's my plan for this. I was intrigued to find this. I think that's one of the fun things about crawls is like you can, and I do, like research the yarns online for stores that have that, but not all of them do, and not all of them tell you everything that there is at the times. After that, I went over to Half Moon Bay to Fengari. They have a very large, bright store, a huge number of books, a lot of Noro. They had a Peninsula Yarn trunk show. Don't quote me on this, but I think one of the designs for the crawl was made out of Peninsula yarn, because they had kits at most of the stores. They have this like just a bunch of really gorgeous colorways that really speak to me. And they had fiber there as well. I think it was like there was some Polworth, like not just merino, which is fine. I have honestly been staying away from merino up till this point because I feel like it's very easily available. And I want to make sure that like I'm buying special merino as opposed to just buying merino. Like I don't know. Maybe that's silly of me, but they had some fun fiber types as well. And it's like a nice store. Half Moon Bay is a great little place to spend a couple hours, although I was very busy crawling, so I didn't spend that much time. The final store I stopped at on that Sunday was the Royal Bee in Pacifica, which is a really fun store. They have their own dyed yarns. I got one. This is cream hydrangea on a DK base, which is 100% fine organic merino, approximately 230 yards and 100 grams. They have a lot of like non-superwash bases of their own yarns. They also have Ritual Dyes, which is like one of the bigger indie dyers I feel like I see mentioned. I believe they have some cotton linen bases that people like to use. They had a trunk show from A Needle Runs Through It, which is like a Notions shop online. My plan is to use this DK yarn with the minis I got from A Pop of Color, the Yarnaceous minis, and I think that will be a fun little like tee. I went to both Knit This, Purl That and In Between Stitches on my next day of crawling. Those are both in Livermore, California, and I work near them, so I went after work. My parents moved out there almost 15 years ago, maybe actually 15 years ago now, to that area, so I'm pretty familiar, although I hadn't been to either of those stores until they were featured in the crawl. Knit This, Purl That is kind of in a weird like office parky location, but they have a lot of good yarns. They were one of a few stores that had a Seismic Yarns trunk show. They have a lot of store samples that I believe might be for sale by the owner, and they're very impressive. They have some fun notions and a large variety of yarn. In Between Stitches is like a quilt sewing store and a yarn store. They have Madeline Tosh, a variety of other sort of bigger like hand-dyed looking fun yarns. It seems like a very good place to go if you want fabric as well. I got an embroidery kit there last year, although I have to admit I don't know exactly where it is. They are pretty close to Livermore's downtown, so if you are in the area, it's just like a cute area to walk around as well. The last day of the crawl, I went to the final 3 stores. Imagiknit East, which is, you know, very similar to their San Francisco location, although they have a lot more like gifts and crafting kits of various kinds, and maybe things that are like kid friendly in that store. So that's kind of fun. That was my first stop of the day. I did not get anything there. And then I went to my final 2 stores, Black Squirrel and Coven of Stitches. Now, Black Squirrel I've been to many times. I made a short about shopping there that has gotten a good number of views, actually. It's a store I'm at a lot. I wasn't necessarily expecting to buy anything from Black Squirrel. However, they had this Archaic Fibers Fremont Tweed fingering yarn. This is an 85% superwash BFL, 15% NEP, 100 grams is 438 yards, yarn, and my fiance has been asking for a gray tweed hat, although we may evolve that. I thought maybe this color would work. This yarn was on sale, and I think the sale was on sale. So I got one skein of this on my first trip to Black Squirrel. Now, my friend and I went to the store later. I ended up getting 2 more skeins of this, and also this Fiber Natura cobblestone in the colorway Cotton Candy, I believe. This is a yarn that I think is pretty popular for making things like the pressed flower shawl on like a slightly more budget-friendly basis than like using spin cycle. This is 100% superwash merino wool and 612 yards per 200 gram like ball. This was on sale as well. I think this was their final skein that they had in the store, and I'd been eyeing this for a while. I like this colorway. I think I will probably make a pressed flowers shawl, maybe cardigan, maybe one of the other ones out of it. This and 2 of the 3 Archaic Fibers skeins were purchases from Friday when I revisited the stores with my friend. My final store was a Coven of Stitches in Alameda. This is a new addition to the crawl. I had been before. They opened last year around the time of the crawl, so they were kind of like an unofficial crawl stop, I believe, although I didn't go to them for the first time until I think December of this past year. They're a really fun store. They also had a Seismic Yarns trunk show. They had some really old Black Squirrel skeins and like a 2019 like Christmas colorway or something, and some of their branded yarns, and they don't really have like hand-dyed branded like Black Squirrel branded yarns anymore, so that was kind of fun to see. What ended up being kind of funny was that I got some Royal Bee yarn there. So they have yarn from like some of the local dyers. They have Bay Farm Dye House yarn as well, which is a dyer also in Alameda where the store is. They have local yarns, they have some dyers, they have a lot of really fun stitch markers, and they have like make your own stitch marker kits, I guess, like, you know, 5 for $10, or that's not a true amount, don't take my word for that, but like they have different vessels you can put it in, they have for different prices, and you can kind of mix and match the stitch markers they have. From them, first I got this fiber. This is Targi, and it is from Woolly Wildflower. The colorway is Unicorn Candy. I also was intrigued by this fluff from Seismic Yarn, which is a local dyer. This is their Crawl colorway Bioluminescent, and I believe that this yarn is also UV reactive. This is the Seismic Butter Puff base, which is 80% brushed superwash extra fine merino and 20% nylon, and it is 328 yards per 50 grams. I think actually for finishing the blackout, I get a 25 gram mini of this, so I will have more of this for being one of the first 150 people to black out my bingo card, hopefully. I did get an email back from one of the organizers being like, congrats, we'll send those out in the beginning of April. So it seems like I am one of the first people, one of the first 150 to finish, and I should be getting that. To hold with that, I wasn't really sure what to get, but I actually ended up getting some Royal Bee yarn. So this is Royal Bee fingering weight yarn. It is 100 grams. It is 472 yards and 100% extra fine merino. I believe it is non-superwash merino. I thought that I could make one of those sort of color work sweaters that involves using fluff as one of the colors and a normally spun yarn as the other. And that is all that I got. It is kind of a lot. It's more than I was expecting. I mean, I was kind of expecting to get a lot. I think crawls, going places, seeing new yarns, having the opportunity to try things out, and also seeing fiber. I'm honestly surprised I only got like 12 ounces, I guess, of fiber. Like I said, I've been to all but one of these stores before, either from the crawl or from my life, and they are all really, really nice. It's great to know that there are all these options in the Bay Area, especially as I am like considering where or if we're going to move, where we might move. It's nice to know that there's options out there for local yarn stores kind of near most places. Would 100% do the crawl again. I think it is super fun for me as somebody who's super obsessed with knitting and yarn and fiber and spinning now. It's a great way for me to spend some time. I do wish that I had more people in my real life to share this with. It was fun to revisit some of the stores with my friend. I will probably do it again next year. You know, it depends if I'm living here. It depends what my life looks like. Obviously, I have a lot of free time to dedicate to yarn and driving around to look at yarn, which not everybody has or wants to do. So I think for as long as I'm here in the Bay Area and as long as I have the time and energy, I will be trying to do the entire crawl. If you have a crawl in your area, I definitely recommend checking it out. I personally have only ever done this crawl. I don't have experience or knowledge about how similar or different this crawl is from others. The crawl does cover a really large area here. The Bay Area is a very big place with a lot of space and a lot of like densely populated areas. There's not necessarily like one epicenter. Like LA probably would have a similar type of crawl where there's just a long distance between some of the stores, but I don't know if every city would have that. If you have any questions about these stores, I would be happy to answer them. If you've been to any of these stores, I'd love to know what your favorite is. I think I'm probably still really partial to Black Squirrel just because it's like my local one of the first ones I went to when I was deciding to seriously knit again and buy more things from local shops as opposed to online retailers. So for me, that's probably still my favorite. If you did the crawl, I'd love to hear what your experience was like this year. If you live somewhere else, if you've done a yarn crawl, I'd love to hear what your experiences were like with that, because I'm curious how this crawl stacks up with other crawls. If you want to chat yarn crawls, hit me up. Thank you for coming along on this yarn journey with me. I hope you enjoyed watching what my crawl experience was like this year and hearing about the yarns that I got. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give it a like and consider subscribing. I make videos about yarny things every couple weeks, once or twice a month. I think in my next video, I will be doing a giveaway. I think my idea is to do a giveaway where I will get you a gift card to a local yarn store of your choice. I think that is what I will go with. I think it will make it more likely that it's something you will want because you can buy it yourself. You can tell me which store to go to, and I can not have to ship something to you. So I think that's the way that I'll go. I will do that next video when I give you a rundown of my recent makes. My plan is to do like a podcast-ish episode for my next video. I have a lot of fiber to talk about having spun. So if that's something you're into, I hope you will consider sticking around for the next video. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.